Okay, some of you are still asking me about the tariff diagram, so I shall do a video and then whoever needs to try and re-understand it can watch it. Okay, so I'll use your favorite example right now, potash. Okay, so the tariff diagram is actually a micro diagram, alright? So your y-axis is P, your x-axis is Q, and it's an analysis of one particular market or one particular industry. So in this case, we talk about potash. Okay, so if it's a normal demand-supply analysis, then we will look at the equilibrium, the intersection between supply curve and demand curve to find out P and Q. But this is an analysis which includes the world supply. Okay, so we draw one horizontal line here. Okay, and remember, the entire demand curve is simply made up of quantity demanded at each particular price. And the entire supply curve is made up of the quantity supplied at each particular price. So here, the equilibrium is now not here. Okay, in fact, there's no equilibrium between demand and supply curve anymore because of the world supply. Instead, your equilibrium will be the intersection between the demand curve and the world supply. So this is Q1. Okay, so consumption is at Q1 because your domestic demand meets the world supply at this equilibrium point. So this is the quantity consumed. On the other hand, this is now your quantity domestically produced, because the price is so low that very few people are willing to produce it. So it's a lot lower compared to the demand supply equilibrium. So Q1 and Q2 in between is actually your imports. Okay, because from 0 to Q2 you can get it from the domestic suppliers, but from Q1 to Q2 you have to get it from imports. Okay, so this is the non-tariff situation. And where is my consumer surplus right now? My consumer surplus is actually, okay, this particular point, or rather this triangle. Okay, why? Because to get consumer surplus, it is a simple thing. To the left of quantity consumed, above your price, below your demand curve. To the left of quantity consumed, above price, below your demand curve. So this is your so-called new consumer surplus when world supply is entered into the equation. Okay, it is a lot larger than your normal domestic demand supply situation. Okay, and actually you can link it to CA. Without comparative advantage, then we won't be able to import goods at such a low price, then our consumer surplus won't be as high. Okay, now let's bring in the tariff. Okay, the tariff will shift the world supply upwards and thus shift the world price upwards as well. Okay, so can you see the problem right now? Where is my new consumer surplus? Okay, my new consumer surplus is now here. Okay, that means I'm losing a chunk of consumer surplus, which is now the yellow part. Okay, so how do we analyze deadweight loss? Okay, we have to look at certain things. For one, let's label it. Okay, so this is the new quantity consumed, we label it Q3. This is the new quantity domestically produced, we label it Q4. And then we label the sections A, B, C, D for easy textual explanation in the future. Okay, deadweight loss is when former consumer surplus or former producer surplus goes to nobody. So let's analyze the sections one by one. Let's look at A. Does it just disappear? No. A actually becomes producer surplus. Okay, the original producer surplus was here. Okay, but after the tariff, your quantity produced has increased from Q2 to Q4. Okay, sorry about the Facebook sound, whatever. Okay, from Q2 to Q4. Therefore, my new producer surplus is now to the left of Q4, below the new price, and above the supply curve. So now this entire area is my producer surplus. Hence, A has transformed from consumer surplus to producer surplus. So it's part of society. So you cannot consider A deadweight loss. Okay, let's look at C. Okay, C is what we know, what we call government revenue. How do we know C is government revenue? So tariff revenue equals import quantity multiplied by the tariff. In a sense, it's P times Q when you think about it. So what is the tariff? The tariff is the vertical distance, right? So it should be the same vertical distance. And my horizontal distance is Q3 to Q4, which is my new import quantity. Hence, this times this equals C. So A equals producer surplus, C equals government revenue. So we cannot consider both A and C deadweight loss because they are still part of society. Okay, we assume the government takes the revenue to do something good for society. Okay, that leaves B and D. So what happens to B and D? It goes to nobody. It doesn't go to any single economic agent, it doesn't go to consumers, it doesn't go to producer, it doesn't go to the government. And hence, we consider B and D a deadweight loss. Okay, now some students also ask this question, how does trade creation work? Now, trade creation is the opposite of this diagram, meaning instead of shifting from SW to SW plus T, you shift from SW plus T downwards to SW, meaning you will gain B and D as the additional welfare. Okay, so for tariff diagram, B and D is a welfare loss, but for trade creation, B and D becomes your welfare gain. Yep, that's about it.